supplements are really complicated. It's really hard to distinguish the good, the bad from the ugly. And when you kind of read a label, you know, a lot of those terms are almost in Latin. A lot of times people are like, oh, supplements, you know, I mean, do they work? It's when you take supplements every single day, if you're really consistent, my God, the power of, you know, good nutrition. It is amazing. So we're going to be a year old in September.
Oh. Would you like to take one of these?
Brotherly's coming, babes. Brotherly's on the way.
Brotherly's on the
I swear to God, give me 2 years and we've got Brotherly on the way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Jill Spills. This week we're going to be spilling the tea on a women's health supplement which is called the Elevator. Today I am joined by the wonderful Jenny, co-founder of Sisterly.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to make it very clear you have literally just flown in from Ireland this morning. I'd like to say specifically for me, but no.
For you and a few other bits, but I'm thrilled to be here. It's gorgeous. Thank you.
I'm very, very honoured that you're here. So I'm just going to quickly show everybody. So this is your brand, along with you and the other girls. This is called the Elevator.
That's our baby. Yeah.
Yeah. And it is, as we say, a women's health supplement. So we're going to talk about this. I'm going to get this out as well because I'm just going to show people. It's a lovely little I love the packaging.
I know. Well, there was a lot of thought that went into packaging. I think that women kind of understand what they like. It's really funny. The packaging really appeals to people because it's simple and it's clean and it's meant to sit on your kitchen counter and not offend. It's lovely on your couch.
I know. It is lovely on my couch, isn't it? So let's start with how your baby began. What is behind the scenes? Who are you with? What are you lovely girls? You're going to tell us a bit about and how the magic happened.
Yeah, so Sisterly is the brainchild of three of us. There's myself. I was a barrister for 22 years. And Aoife Matthews, my co-founder, she was an investment banker with JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley. She's very impressive. And Louisa Reardon and I, we met when we were both in New York back in the late noughties. She's in marketing and everything she touches just turns to gold. And I often say that it was around the time of Sex and the City. Do you remember that? Yeah, she was the Carrie, I was the Miranda. Yeah, it was a bit trash. But the three of us came together during COVID, and we're all of a kind of certain age at the time, and we were discussing, you know, what supplements we should be taking. So do you remember around that time we were all just saying, oh, what form of vitamin D and what's the right dose, and should you take zinc, and if you take zinc, should you also be taking copper? And we were having these like long conversations, and you know, kind of heading into the next stage of life, we were like, what should we be taking to support our health? And we kind of came to the conclusion that supplements are really complicated. You know, I mean, none of us are stupid, but it's really hard to distinguish the good, the bad from the ugly.
Yeah.
And when you kind of read a label, you know, a lot of those terms are almost in Latin, and you're kind of trying to hold up one label to the other, and all the units keep changing and the values and the names. You have to look at the real detail of the supplement and form before you can figure out what is synthetic and what is natural. And so we just said, my God, this should be simpler. This should be easier. And we put together this crack team of experts, and we said we want a female specific supplement that works for our bodies, because we always say, do you know, have you heard of Dr. Stacey Sims?
I'm not sure if I have actually.
She's amazing. She wrote this book called Roar, and I did triathlons, and she's all into this whole notion that, you know, women are not small men. I love that phrase. It's so good.
Cool, yeah.
It's really good, but it's true. And so a female specific supplement will work better for the female body. Yeah. And that's what we wanted to do. No compromise on quality. Make it simple, make it easy, make it doable every day.
How did it all begin? Because obviously it was a long process. So what was the behind of making sure you got all the exact ingredients that you specifically wanted for it?
You're so right, Jill. It was such a long process. None of these things happen quickly. So we were in the development phase for 3 years, and that process involved, we knew, like, I think probably because of our kind of backgrounds, we were very particular about the expert we were going to team up with. So again, not all experts are made equally.
Yeah.
So we went through a really long process of trying to find the right people to work with on this process. I think probably because none of us had a nutritional background, we were really conscious of wanting to get the right white coats. We weren't, actually Aoife has done a qualification in nutrition, but we knew that we wanted proper people with like decades of experience to be guiding us. We knew what the consumer wanted. So we went and we surveyed 130 women and we asked them, what do you want from a supplement? And do you know what the top answer was?
Cool.
It was energy.
Yeah.
Women really want more energy. And it's not surprising. I think particularly in this generation, you have a lot of women who are, holding down a busy career.
Yeah.
They've still got a lot of the responsibilities at home. And then you've got aging parents and young kids, and raising children has become a lot more time consuming. You don't just leave them out the back door and say, we'll see you at tea time. So all of that, and there's the pressure to look the part, and exercise and see your friends. So I think women are knackered. They're really tired. Yeah. So not surprisingly, we knew what the consumer needed. So we then went to our team of experts. So our lead formulator was a guy called Dr. Daniel Jones, and Danny is a physiologist from the University of Pennsylvania, and he came to Ireland to do his doctorate in the School of Medicine in UCD, University College Dublin. So we were so lucky. He had been working in powder supplements specifically for over a decade, and he had lots of award-winning formulations. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, he's really, really top drawer. And we said to Danny, look, we were going to give you carte blanche. You can put in there all of the nutrients that you say are the best ones for our body. We want the best forms, the right doses, and the best combination of nutrients. So we tasked him with that. But then again, I think probably because I'm a barrister and so used to kind of cross-examining experts, I was like, we're not taking the word of just one person. We need a team to look at his homework and make sure we're doing all of this right. So again, we were so lucky. We teamed up with an amazing GP and hormone expert here in the UK called Dr. Mandy Leonhardt.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
Dr. Leonhardt has a German background and she's so straight. Like, when Mandy says, yes or no, it's just the way it is. And initially when we approached her, she said, look, I think you guys are great. I love what you're trying to do, but I'm not going to put my name or my face on your website because that would undermine me as a GP, because this whole area of supplementation, a lot of doctors aren't trained in it or they don't want to speak to it. But after 2.5 years over and back on the formulation with Dr. Leonhardt, she said to us, it was an amazing day. She said to us, you guys are actually doing this right. I really believe in what you're doing. I know you've approached this the right way. I know that everything that's gone in there is the right form, the right dose, the right spectrum of nutrients for women. And so she came out and she's on our website. She's a brilliant quote. She spoke at our UK launch. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Getting people like that to back you, it's really unusual.
Yeah.
So, hats off. We love Dr. Mandy Leonhardt. And then we've Susie Perry, a food scientist, Adrienne Byrne, a nutritional therapist, sports nutritionist. She ran her best ultramarathon there at the age of 50. She's fab. The girls, they're amazing. Like, our team are brilliant. We went really, really heavy on the experts.
Yeah.
And we went to 4 different manufacturers because we just weren't happy with how this was going. We didn't want any sugar in there. And we kept being told, the way to make this taste nice was just kind of hide a little bit of this, hide a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So that took ages, getting the formulation to taste as bland as it does. Bland is very complicated with a powder supplement. Sorry, anyway, I'm going on and on.
No. I think that's so. So when this was all happening, was you girls all still doing your own jobs at that point? Was you still doing that, or this was your baby and this is all you were solely concentrating on at this point?
So it started during COVID, and we actually made quite a lot of progress during COVID because the courts had closed and, our regular jobs had kind of died down for a while. I don't think this would have ever happened were it not for COVID. No, there wouldn't have been any time to get the process moving. And Aoife was the first one to go full-time in the business. So she was working in the business full-time for about a year. Louise is based over in LA. And so she was kind of, doing it part-time as well. And then I gave up my legal practice last July. And I'm
Right.
working in this now for a year, full time. It's great.
That is unreal. So explain a little bit. So you got the elevator. As I say, I've used this product. It does work.
Mm-hmm.
It does. I've been doing it for like 2 or 3 months now, and you do feel a difference. Explain what exactly are the ingredients you wanted in there, if you can break it down for us so we can understand.
Yeah. So, do you remember that survey I mentioned about the
Yeah.
130 women? Energy we really addressed with coenzyme Q10, CoQ10. So, CoQ10 is Dr. Daniel Jones's like desert island nutrient. It is so well researched. It is incredible for energy. It's in every cell in your body. And when you're 20, you're at peak CoQ10. So it turns your food into energy and you're rocking. By the time you're 40, it is
Yeah.
halved, which is pretty trash.
Halved?
That's very tragic because that means that when you're hopping out of bed and you've anything less than 8 hours sleep, you're just feeling it.
Yeah.
And but if you supplement with coenzyme Q10, it rockets your energy levels. It is absolutely amazing. And the only reason we're not all taking coenzyme Q10 all the time is because it's really expensive. So we were looking at this in the UK recently, a kind of a similar dose to that, a month's supply was coming in at £49, 59 pence. I mean, it is really expensive
Yeah.
as a single nutrient. But because we knew we wanted to target energy, that's what we popped in there. And then the B complex is really strong as well. So your B vits are fantastic for energy. So that's that box ticked.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the immunity defense
Yeah.
shield, you know, probably when your energy's up, you're better able to fight off bugs and flus anyway.
Yeah.
But then your D3 and your zinc and your vitamin C are all in there in really good optimum doses. And that's really important because, you know, you might see a multi-nutrient in a shop and you kind of go, oh, great, there's D3 in there and there's zinc and there's vitamin C. But it's all about the form of those nutrients. Are they the natural form that your body can recognize and absorb?
Yeah.
Because then they can do their job. But also, are they at a threshold dose that you know they can have an effect? So this is I think where the consumer really, you know, loses out because they think they're doing enough for themselves by, you know, buying a multivit in a tablet and they're going out the door going, yay, I'm doing something for my health.
Yeah.
But actually, if it's in a tablet, unless you're taking 6 to 8 tablets a day, you're not getting enough of anything in there to actually do its job. And that's why we went for powder.
Yeah.
Because with powder, you have enough room to put in a big enough dose to ensure an outcome. So the immunity benefits with this are phenomenal. And you only see that in retrospect. So again, with supplements, you need to give it time to build up in the system. You know, some people notice a difference within a week or two, but it kind of depends on how nutrient deficient you are.
Yeah.
And the older you get, actually, funny enough, and it's probably the coenzyme Q10, the more people notice this, the quicker they notice it. So we had some people in their 60s, 70s who are like, oh my God, I felt the difference within a week. Like straight away, I noticed. Whereas other people, and it depends again on your diet, it may take more time. But for the immunity benefits, it's in retrospect, you look back and go, oh my God, I got through all those cold and flu season and I haven't picked up what I normally would do. I always say though, it's not the cure for COVID. Let's manage everybody's expectations. You know, we can't ensure that you're never going to get a cold or a
course.
flu again, but this genuinely is going to improve your immune system no end. I think I love it because for me, that was the biggest difference I noticed. I had a really bad immune system. So during COVID, I think I had 3 rounds of COVID and a dose of shingles. I mean, it was not good. And for me, I would have been, I think probably because I was really into triathlons, I had a busy job, little boy, running around the place quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I love a night out. Never know when to go home. So between the jigs and the reels, and hardly surprising, I was constantly picking up chest infections, colds and flus. Every kind of 8 weeks, you know, I'd be on an antibiotic or a steroid inhaler. And this has stopped all of that for me, which is phenomenal. I mean, I love that I'm not on antibiotics anymore, killing off my gut bacteria. You know, it really does just make the difference. And you might feel something coming on and it just goes away. It's just your immune system working optimally because you're feeding your body right.
Yeah.
So I love the immune system one. And I can tell you about the beauty benefits.
Yes, please do.
So that's a great one. I know we had Katie Shanahan on this and she was getting ready for her wedding. And we have another Olympian, Annalise Murphy, who is an Irish Olympic sailor. And Annalise is getting married very soon. And the hair, skin, and nails is just fab
Yeah.
because we didn't even set out to do that. Do you know that? Genuinely.
Oh, really?
No, we were kind of
So
looking
what,
at this.
what was your main factor? What was
Energy.
it? It was
energy,
the energy.
energy was the big one, and immunity. That was really what we wanted, and hormonal balance because we wanted it to be very female specific. So they were our three targets. And the hormone balance we targeted with selenium and vitamin B6. And it really is amazing for people who kind of have, problematic time of the month. They're going into perimenopause and menopause. This really helps because when you're nutritionally rich and you're feeding all your systems, you can cope with those different times with this hormonal cycle that we have. But the beauty benefits, going back to that, we weren't targeting it because we kind of had decided where we wanted to go on this. And then we realized because we have, biotin, retinol, vitamin A in there, like people's skin, the radiance that comes. And do you know why that is? So if you're nutrient deficient, all the nutrients from your food goes into the essential organs and the essential parts of your body. So your nails can be brittle, your hair can be brittle, your skin doesn't look great because your body doesn't have all the nutrients it needs. But when you take all of these nutrients and your body can afford to release them to the extremities, you notice that your nails are getting stronger, your skin looks better, your hair is growing. Like, my God, that's hairdressers all over the place are going, what are you doing? But it is because you've got all the nutrients you need and your body's performing optimally. So it's more that these are the side effects of really good nutrition.
Yeah. Did you at any point while you were doing all the testing and trialing, did you have any of your team or anyone else come in and be like, no, I really think this would work better this way or that way? Or was you adamant, powder, that's the end of it, I'm not having it in capsule form?
We discussed everything, especially, I remember at one point this tasted so disgusting. We were like, we can't have it in a powder form because we were adamant there was going to be no sugar, maltodextrin, dextrose, nothing in there that was going to cause a blood sugar spike because if it's not healthy, it shouldn't be marketed as a health supplement. So we were adamant we weren't going to do that. And at one point it was so disgusting, we were like, okay, maybe we have to think about capsules. And that was going to be 6 capsules a day. And we were like, who's going to want to do that every day? So it took so much time to get the formulation, the forms of each of the nutrients correct and the source of them right to get this really bland base. And then we just were able to just put a tiny mandarin natural flavour on top of that. And then it just tastes almost like flavoured water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's super easy to take. We had long debates about things like the inclusion of calcium. And we took advice from our team, and it was really good advice because calcium is not something that the general public should be taking all the time. And we've addressed bone density issues. So osteopenia, osteoporosis a lot of women suffer from that. But the combination of K2 and D3 brings the calcium from your diet into your bones, and that's what helps with bone density. So if you have a calcium deficiency, that's something your GP is going to tell you to take a calcium supplement for.
Yeah.
But for a general supplement, it's not right to have calcium in there.
Yeah.
And similarly, iron. So if you're targeting energy, a lot of people say to us, well, why don't you have iron in there? But again, iron shouldn't be in a general supplement. That again is something that's very specific. And hemochromatosis is a really common complaint amongst Irish and English people actually in particular.
Right.
So those people shouldn't be taking iron. So a lot of it is about like what's in there, but also what's not in there.
Yeah.
To make this, again, being a lawyer, I'm super risk averse. So we weren't going to like overdose just for the sake of it, kind of like, ooh, look at these super heavy doses of everything. That is not the right thing either. Like it really genuinely is not the right thing to do. But for marketing purposes, some people say, oh, just put in super doses of really cheap things and everybody will go, wow, great, look at how high that dose is.
Yeah.
It's all about doing it really conscientiously. How you're going to make this. We made it for, I love this, right? So do you see here, this is like a dedication on a box. I don't know if you can see that. So it's for our mothers, sisters, girlfriends and ourselves. And that genuinely is who we did it for.
Great.
So every time you're making a decision, and there were thousands of decisions over the 3 years getting to here. But every time our North Star was, we're going to be telling our friends to take this. This is for our sisters and our family. We're going to be taking this.
Yeah.
So when you're really that close to something, you don't go wrong. And I don't know if big corporations can do that, but we could, because we were just a small group trying to do the right thing. And I think that that's really helped with the process.
Did you say there was copper in there as well?
Yeah, there's copper, selenium, iodine. There's great nutrients. Those kind of minerals are actually fantastic. Manganese, and they're really hard to get from your food. So selenium is no longer in the soil, and therefore you need to supplement with it. And it's a really important nutrient, and those kind of minerals are really hard to find in your diet. And, it'd be brilliant. Wouldn't you love it if you had your vegetable organic patch in the garden,
Yeah.
And you spent your time and days making sure you get all your, nutrient pillars complete. But a lot of us are just on the run and we don't do it.
Because copper's quite important as well, isn't it? Explain a little bit more why that is important, because I know some people are going to say, why copper?
Well, copper, we always talk about copper being really good for your hair pigmentation. So copper really feeds into that. And again, it's so hard to get in your diet. So it's funny from the perspective of getting your hair dyed and things like that. Like my hairdresser is kind of going, my God, your hair pigmentation has gotten so much stronger than it would have been before. And that is because of the copper that I've been taking now for the last 2 years. It's really interesting when you see those external measures of how this is working, because,
Yeah.
a lot of times people are like, oh, supplements, do they work? What we notice is that a lot of people, they'll be told by a friend, oh, you should buy, B complex. And they buy their jar of B complex and they take it for maybe 7 to 10 days and then they forget to take it because they're
Yeah.
not sick. And they forget to take it. It goes into the press and they never think about it again. But it's when you take supplements every single day, if you're really consistent and you just commit to it and you take it like your coffee in the morning and you don't think about it, or your first glass of water, you just don't think about it, you do it. My God, the power of, good nutrition. It is amazing. It is really, it's game changing.
So with all the ingredients again involved, would you mind explaining a bit more about the minerals that's involved? Because a lot of people overlook minerals, but they're actually very important.
They're so important. All the chat is about vitamins, but actually the minerals are key and they're so hard to get in your diet. So selenium is in there. That's no longer in the soil and it's therefore not in our food. So, supplementing with selenium is so key for hormonal balance and for just your general mood. It is such a key female nutrient. And then things like chromium. So chromium is key for balancing your blood sugars. So a lot of people, especially athletes, have noticed when taking this that they're not getting that kind of sugar craving around 3 o'clock. We have an amazing triathlete. She's Ireland's top triathlete, a girl called Becky Woods. And she got on to me and she's like, Jenny, I'm not reaching for the Mars bar at 3 o'clock, and I'm up since 5 training. And she's got a full-time job as well. She's a speech therapist. So it's really amazing to get your chromium into you with this. You really notice that then reduces your cravings. And kind of balancing out your blood sugar levels has a huge impact on your sleep. So sleep, as I was saying, was a massive thing that people have noticed from taking this. But that's not just the magnesium. It's actually balancing out your blood sugars with all the minerals. So it really is such an important part of fueling your body right so that all of the different systems in your body can do what they're meant to do.
Yeah. Amazing.
And there's another thing in there which I love called piperine. And piperine is a black pepper extract, and that increases the absorption or the bioavailability of all of the nutrients in there. So like the coenzyme Q10 is at 150 mg dose, but the piperine increases the absorption of that by 30%. It does the same for like the B-vits, the vitamin D, vitamin C. It's such a cool ingredient that is in there. So like it's all the excellence that went in by the team in choosing all of those nutrients, and they all have a purpose. They're all there for a reason. It's cool.
So what's the difference between these nutrients compared to others?
So, a really big difference is that we only chose the natural forms of each of the nutrients instead of synthetic. So, synthetic forms, the body doesn't recognize them, they're not as easily absorbed, they're not as effective. But yet, you can still put on the back of the label, magnesium or vitamin D3 or vitamin B12. But let's say, take vitamin B12, for example, we use methylcobalamin as opposed to cyanocobalamin. Now, cyanocobalamin is the synthetic form, and like cyana is like cyanamide. It kind of causes your tummy to be a little bit upset, but it is so commonly used in supplements. Pick up your supplement jar. So, like, let's say this is where all the detail is. So, you've got your typical, nutrient table here, but this is the detail, right? So, this is where you see the forms of each of those nutrients. And this is what I was talking about, the Latin. So would you know if you saw cyanocobalamin, that was B12 and that was a problem? No, you wouldn't.
No.
But it's methylcobalamin is the one that you really want. That's the one the body recognizes. That's the one the body can absorb. And like knowing that, so we use folate instead of folic acid. Folate is the natural form. It's the one the body can recognize. You've all heard of folic acid, but that's not as good as folate. And so like our form of magnesium is the most bioavailable. It's there's 14 different types of magnesium. It's knowing which form of each of the nutrients are you going to use. That makes a massive difference.
Yeah, that really does. And that's what takes it this to
That's
say
what
next
takes-
level of value.
And like you wouldn't be surprised to hear that the synthetic forms are the cheaper forms, and obviously the natural forms are more expensive. But you know what? It's so worth it to use the correct forms, because that's why we're getting these amazing reviews, because it actually does what it's meant to do, and people are noticing the difference because it's the best of everything that's in there.
And anyone can, because they're so natural and you're using the best, anyone can take these. Like, what sort of age would you recommend from?
So on the back of the packet, it says, from 18 years and upwards. And that's because, nobody's been doing clinical trials on people younger than 18. But to be honest, this is most beneficial because of the coenzyme Q10, as I was telling you. It starts to drop off from 20. So really from the age of 30 on.
Yeah.
If we were making this for an 18-year-old, we wouldn't have put in coenzyme Q10. We were thinking about women kind of 30s on. So it's great for fertility. It's great for going into perimenopause and menopause. It's great for busy women kind of in their 30 plus stage of life. So we kind of really did make this for our friends and ourselves. We were kind of thinking about who are the women that would really benefit from something that is top quality. And that's who we made it for.
I think that's what's really nice about this is the fact that you made it adamant it's going to be powder form, because it makes it easy, right? There's no reason, you forget to take your tablets in the morning and that's you done for the day, especially for out for all day, but you actually can take these out in your handbag.
Yep.
And that was another reason that you wanted it in this specific way as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's convenience. It's all about convenience. So we know that women are super busy. They have a never-ending to-do list. And it was all about saying, okay, how can we make this super simple? So consistency is a big issue in terms of unlocking the benefits of this. So we put loads of thought into it. So this is designed, as I was saying, to sit on your kitchen counter. And there you see it beside the kettle or beside the sink. And every morning as you come down, you just take it and it becomes part of your daily routine. You don't put it in the press. You don't take it out of eyesight. You need it. Do you know Mel Robbins? She always talks about, like, with a good habit, keep it in your eye line. So that's what this is all about. And then the sachets, there's two reasons for that. One is that it keeps all these really kind of potent, delicate nutrients. They're hygroscopic, so they absorb water really easily.
Okay.
So you couldn't have it in like an open jar. So this ensures that they're all protected and they all kind of, retain their quality. But then the second thing is you can pop it in your handbag. So you're running to the gym, or you can keep them in the office or in your car. So just in case you miss it in the morning, super easy to travel with as well. You know that thing when you're going on holidays? I mean, counting out the tablets.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Or bringing all the jars and rattling through the airport. I mean, it's ridiculous. So this makes it super easy to stay consistent on your travels, on your holidays and all the rest. So like, it's great. I mean, it works really well.
That's the whole thing for convenience, so at any time. But would you recommend there is a good time of day that you should take this? Is it that first thing in the morning, or that was it designed that it didn't matter as long as you took it?
To be honest, we recommend first thing in the morning, and that's because it gives you this all-day energy from the coenzyme Q10. And it's not to say that you couldn't take it at the end of the evening. It's not going to keep you awake. but it is optimally kind of taken first thing in the morning, and try and take it at the same time every day. It makes it easier to remember.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that making it easy on the stomach was a big thing for us. Now, everybody's different. Some people have more delicate stomachs than others, but you can take this on an empty stomach.
Right.
But then if you have a more delicate stomach, there's no problem taking it with or after food. It is food, so you absorb it. And because it's powder and it's the best forms of those nutrients, all the natural ones, it will go into the system.
Yeah.
So it's great. Some people like to leave a gap between it and coffee of about 10 minutes. But to be honest, I just make it easy. I just prioritize getting it into me every day. That is the key. Don't overly complicate it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
The name, the Elevator, who came up with it? Was it a joint effort, or did it just suddenly?
Well, do you know, it's funny. So the elevator is all about elevating every system in the body. And it's funny, we were going to do a whole line of different supplements, you know, to kind of address female health. But actually, we're so into this and really want to ensure everybody gets on to Sisterly, because the reviews we have been receiving are off the charts. Like every single day, we get messages from people saying, oh my God, I can't believe the difference I am feeling. More energy, a more, you know, kind of a better humor because I have more energy. My immune system is better. I love my hair, skin and nails. I just feel in a much better mood. Sleep is massive. Again, we weren't even targeting sleep, but the magnesium dose is so mega in this that it really does help and support sleep. So because of all of that, we've really decided we want to be the queens of a powder supplement for women. This is it. So this is going to become renamed Sisterly. It's just going to be Sisterly. And the reason being, we just want, Sisterly is all about the feeling. This is for women. This is for our mothers, sisters, our friends, ourselves, for all those busy women that are out there. So it's all going to become about, and the Sisterly name, Aoife came up with that, which we absolutely love it. We were going round the houses.
Oh, really?
Looking for names. And I was kind of Googling them, checking to see whether they were trademarked and whether we could have them or not. And we kept coming up with these great names, and then was like, oh no, we can't get it. And we went through, I'd say about 400 names over the space of a couple of weeks. And then eventually at about 7:00 on a Tuesday night, it was like, oh my God, we can cake that. We love it. And it's so perfect.
And so simple.
It's so simple, and it's so memorable, and it's a vibe. You know, Sisterly is a vibe.
Yeah.
And we've done all these events and we bring women together, and it's all about simple ways to improve your everyday. So we do sea swims and we do yoga mornings and we do female health talks. And every time we bring our sisterhood together, every single time you walk away and people are like, that was amazing. So we've one coming to London. We're doing a Sisterly Summit here in London in October, and it'll be our first time. And Katie Shanahan's going to be involved in that, and it's really exciting.
That's going to be cool.
And it's all about bringing these busy women together and kind of saying to them, listen, what can we do to support our health, our wellness, our well-being? You know, this is one thing, but there's lots more we can do as well.
I love that.
Yeah, it's
I'll
cool.
come to that.
Yeah, you will.
I'll be there. So you first launched in Ireland.
Yep.
When was that?
So we are a year in. Our little baby turns 1 this September. I actually can't believe it's only a year. I mean, it feels like 10.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, it's so funny because I think when I left the law library and, you know, I became a senior counsel a year before. So a senior counsel is the same as a Casey. So it's a really big deal. And before I left, I think I probably naively thought, you know, I'm going to evolve into my best self. I'll be sitting on a yoga mat every morning. I'll have time to meditate.
Yeah.
I'm really just going to become such an all-rounded superhuman. I'm going to be a great mom, la, la, la. And it has been chaos. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it has been amazing. Amazing, so exciting. So many great things have happened. Working with your two friends is phenomenal. We have a fab team around us now as well. Like the people on our team are incredible. But it's been so busy. And I keep waiting. I've kind of now think it's akin to having a newborn baby because it needs so much time and attention.
Yeah.
It's always on. There's no time that you can just put it down and walk away. It just needs time and attention all the time. But it's great. Like I wouldn't have done it any other way. But I think sometimes I meet my friends from work and they're like, "Oh, it must be such a chill time. Are you just loving this kind of lifestyle you've made for yourself?" I'm like, well,
Funny story.
funny about that.
But I think that's quite good to bring that point up because, you know, you spoke about the journey of you getting to where you're at now, but it's been a very in-depth journey. So there would have to have been some challenges along the way. And, you know, it wouldn't just, oh, we found a name and we did this and we did that. So there must have been at some points where you probably did think, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of points like that, to be honest. I think sometimes it's really hard to sleep because you have so much on your mind. And we've tried so many things like the to-do lists and, you know, kind of siphoning off your own and get through so much every day. But it's just, I think because it's so exciting and we're so absorbed in it and obsessed by it, you know, and it does feel like a cause to us. I'm not just saying that, like it really feels important. And we all like want to get this out to as many women as possible because we know how much it helps. And like all parts of it are interesting. They really are, but it's just all encompassing. And I think there's been so many different challenges. I think we're all doing this for the first time.
Yeah.
So there's a huge fear factor. And again, you know, it's probably a part of our age and being a little bit perfectionist. You kind of don't know where the bodies are buried or whether you're about to step on a grenade at any moment in time. Whereas I suppose when, you know, you've been in a professional career for 20 years, you kind of know what to expect. And you know when you're well prepared and you know when you're going to walk into something and nail it and you know if you've got a problem looming. Whereas with this, we're all doing it for the first time. So lots of things cropped up at different stages and we were like, oh my God, I did not see that coming. You know, we thought we had everything ticked. We thought that this was all just going, I mean, manufacturing is, oh my God.
Yeah.
Everybody said it. But it's only, I think, when you're living it that you go, wow, you have to just expect the unexpected at times. And I think we've been really good and I think we've been really conscientious and kind of ahead of the curve and we've dealt with everything that has arisen. But I think there's kind of a nervous energy that sometimes comes with, I remember Dr. Daniel Jones was saying that to us at one point. He was like, everything's going to work out. Everything's going to be fine. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Don't panic. It's all going to be fine. But for us, I think we were probably giving ourselves a hard time a lot of stages. You know, we had friends and family who'd invested, Enterprise Ireland invested into us. We just were never allowing anything to go wrong. And I think that kind of pressure,
Yeah.
you know, we probably made it harder on ourselves than it needed to be. But we've gotten better at that. And I think that's not to say that things don't continually, like curveballs don't get thrown. But I think we've more confidence in ourselves now that we'll deal with it. And we work very well together as a team. And yeah, we put a lot of energy into this, a lot. But it's great, you know.
The team that you've got, especially the girls that you've co-founded it with, I mean, it's obviously worked extremely well. But would there have been at times where you had the great idea, they didn't like it, or, you know, or have you all kind of been on a very even keel and it just somehow has just all worked in the same way?
Not the latter. Like, I
Gotta
don't think
ask.
that's possible because that would require that we were all the same type of person.
Yeah.
And we're all incredibly different. We have different strengths that are all very complementary. The way we make decisions, and I think that it has really stood to us. 3 is a great number. And we always just go with the majority. So we might all have different views on things, but whatever the majority goes with, we move on. Like we don't debate it after that, which is great. Because I think if it was just 2 of us, we'd be over and back and over and back and one
Yeah.
would be right and one would be wrong.
Wrong.
Whereas it's really easy with 3 because we just kind of like, we talk it out really openly and then we just go, okay, views. And there is no loyalties or anything else. People just say it as it is.
Yeah.
And we move on. And it's so great to move on at times, you know, not to be constantly going over it and over and over again. We're just like, okay, 2, done, we've got that, we're moving on. And I love that. I think that's actually where the sweet spot of decision making has come from for us. And we've known each other for years. So, like, Aoife and Louise lived together in London back in the day. Aoife and I were introduced through my older sister, and Louise and I knew each other from New York. So we've known each other for decades, and there's great trust in that, you know?
I think that's the big thing, the trust, isn't it? I guess.
There's trust, there's love, there's respect. It's all there. Like, it's great.
So you launched nearly a year now in Ireland. When did you launch here in the UK?
So in the UK, we launched in Whole Foods in High Street, Ken, and that was in April. And so now we're really building up our kind of our UK presence. So it's gone Coco Loco in Ireland. Like, everybody knows about it. And that's kind of the lovely thing about Ireland. You know, it's kind of the same size as Manchester. So, you know, we know a lot of people. We've had huge support. We're in Brown Thomas, which is like the top department store, would be the equivalent to Selfridges over in Ireland. A great chain of pharmacies called Mars Pharmacies, the Marion Hotel, which is Ireland's top hotel. So we've all these great locations. But here in the UK, we're kind of building up our presence, and we're building up our kind of fan club. So Angela Scanlon is being a great supporter. Do you know Joanne McNally, the comedian who does the podcast with Vogue?
Yes, love.
Joanne has been amazing. What a star. And, you know, and we're just kind of building up our kind of, we're hosting an event in Dalesford. They've been so supportive. So, like, we're kind of getting out to our community, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about us.
Well,
we had you in Whole Foods actually when we launched, which was great.
That was lovely. That was so interesting as well, because I was chatting to the hormone doctor there as well.
Dr. Mandy Leonhardt was there.
And it was really good. It was, and I say I've had the product, and it does make, genuinely, I'm not just saying, it actually does make a difference.
Yeah, and
it really does.
You know, that was like, I got a message yesterday, right, from a girl who's like one of Ireland's top influencers, and she was messaging me saying, would you be interested in sending me some of this? Now, she has been on our like hit list since we started. We were like, oh my God, it'd be amazing if she took it. I'm not going to say her name because we've no arrangement or anything with her, but I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I said to her, how did you hear about it? And she said, oh, my mother-in-law is on it and is raving about it. And like, I think when you get that kind of endorsement and the word is spreading in that type of organic way, it's because you've got a great product. And all the marketing spend in the world only goes so far. You can get people to try something, but they're not going to stay on it unless it's really good. And this is really good.
And they're seeing the benefits.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, which you do.
And the thing that we did with this as well is we've made it a subscription. So a lot of us are kind of scared of the word subscription. You kind of think, oh my God, I'm going to end up paying for something that I don't want. And like, it's going to be piling up in the hall, and that's going to drive me crazy, and I'm going to end up hating it. And they're scared of subscribing. And I totally get that. I mean, I would have the same kind of like, well, I'm not too sure. I want to try it first. But the reason we made it a subscription is because this needs to be taken consistently every day. Like, you need to just get on it and stay on it. And the way we wanted to approach it so that you don't end up with anything you don't want is we're doing this thing where we send an email to you before your subscription goes through. So 5 days before your subscription goes through, you get an email saying, are you happy to continue? Do you want to pause or cancel? Here's the button. So easy. Right there and then. I'm out. And it's funny, nobody does that, and they really should, because this again goes back to for our mothers, sisters, girlfriends, and ourselves. Like, why don't they? Because people kind of almost want to mug you. Don't mug your mom. Like, don't do it. It's so easy. Just send them an email, say, are you happy to continue? And like, people aren't dropping off. And I said this to somebody who runs a VC the other day, and they were like, that is brave. And I was like, it's not brave. It's smart business. Treat people with respect. And so you get like 20% off if you subscribe. It makes so much more sense. It comes to your door. And if you want to stop at any stage, you get an email. You can stop. It's no problem. But give it a chance. Let it do its job. And like, what we're finding is that people love it. You know, and if what you're spending your money on makes a difference and it makes sense. This is the less than a price of a cup of coffee every day. And you don't think twice of buying a cup of coffee. You're just like, nah, that's just what I do. You don't debate it. Whereas people sit about this and go, and I don't blame them. Unless you know somebody who's telling you it works, you're kind of like, I don't want to throw that money down the toilet. But this does work.
So where in the UK would you like to see this go now? Where are you kind of venturing towards?
Well, it's very exciting because we've been meeting with Harrods in a couple of weeks' time. Very excited about that. Love Harrods. And we've been having lots of chats with Selfridges, but they pushed us back to 2025. So we have to wait and see, is that going to happen? And I get it. I know retail is under pressure and all that kind of stuff. So that's okay. They're the nicest people. I love the guys in there. And Dalesford would be amazing. To be honest, it's kind of online predominantly. We're not doing a big retail push. Because, subscription is really where it's at in terms of just taking it every day. But we know people like to see it in certain places. So, people have approached us. So Soho House reached out to us recently. They came to us. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. But there's a certain demographic that loves something really thoughtful. And you love the branding, but it's also what's in the sachet. We could have put corn flour in there and people would have bought it because they've been like, that's so pretty. But it's what's in there is magic. And so, it's great. We'll figure it out. To be honest, what I've realized from doing this is everything works out the way it's meant to. I'm not panicking about things. I'm just like, oh, we're meant to go over here. That's fine.
A good way to look at it, I guess.
Oh, no, but that's what we've learned, 100%.
It'll be constant stress otherwise.
No, it's not even just a tactic. It's not kind of like a kind of a mind trick to deal with stress. It's not that at all. It's that is how it has worked. Certain things have happened and at the time we've been going, oh my God, that wasn't our plan. And then in hindsight, we're looking back and we're like, oh, thank God. That was an absolute joy. I think that's flow. I think that's what that is. It's just we are being directed in the right way and this is all just working out the way it should.
Would you do another concept? Or if this is it, and would you do it all over again? Or you're like, this is it, that's your baby, and that's it?
I would do it again, for sure. There is Brotherly, because there's so many husbands going, oh my God, my missus is fantastic. And actually my husband takes it, it is female specific, but it is better than any powder supplement out there. We will tweak it and kind of do things slightly differently for the men in our lives. But no, I think this is it for us. This is the journey. This is the product. I can't see myself getting bored with it. And there's so much to do. We had a really interesting conversation with Acton Acre. It's a fab hair care brand and they are Irish and we met them over in New York and we were talking to them about what would they do differently, and they were saying single product is just the best because you're either expanding on a range or you are improving on something. You can't do both. And the three of us, all of us, we just were going, we just want to make this better and better and better. This is it, 100%. And I'm so delighted. We three of us chimed immediately. We were like, we're sticking with this. Yeah. And I think, you know what? You don't need to be all things to all people. You just need to be excellent and the best at what you do. And this is it for us.
I love that.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
It's just so simple.
I know. And simple is actually hard.
Yeah.
Simple. It's, again, my brother-in-law said this to me the other day, that in Amazon, they always had a thing, what did you say no to today? Because clever people get distracted really easily and they're constantly going, ooh, and we should do this and we should do that. And what's the next shiny new thing? And he said, this whole concept of simplicity is really hard. It's really hard to stick to one thing. It's really hard to get brilliant at just doing the same thing every single day. So that's what we're aiming for, simplicity.
Well, thank you. Honestly, that's been brilliant. And I hope people are going to try it and give it a go. So you're on Instagram, Sisterly Lab.
Sisterlylab.com. Yeah.
And that's
it's sisterlylab.com. And we're on Instagram, sisterly_lab. And you'll see all our events there and our CSWIMs and our experts, and have a good look at the science section of the website. So few people look at it.
Yeah.
You do, and I get it. I don't either. But, it's all in the detail.
And that's a good thing to have as well, because then it gives people a better understanding, right? And
Yeah.
a bit more in depth with it all. And remind us of where you're doing when your next big event here is happening. Do you say October?
So we're doing a UK Sisterly Summit in October, and then we will be doing. I really want to do like a run in Hyde Park. We're gonna just bring people together for eventing. In Dublin, we do the 40 foot, which is where Bad Sisters is filmed. Do you know Bad Sisters with that Apple? It's an Apple series. It's so good with Sharon Horgan. It's just amazing. But they all do sea swims at the 40 foot. So that's where we go. We're doing our birthday party at the 40 foot now
Oh,
in a couple of
wow.
next week. So we'll be coming up with other concepts for the UK to do similar kind of things.
Yeah, I
Sea
think-
swimming, runs, you name it. We'll be doing all of that.
We're going to see more of Sisterly.
Yes, you are.
Look, thank you so much for coming. I
Jill,
honestly
thanks for
really
having me.
appreciate it.
You're
No,
so good. Thank you so much for having me.
no, thank you. And yeah, hopefully you'll be back with us telling us where Sisterly has gone next.
Or off to the States.
There you go. Watch this space. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jill. That was brilliant.